So like moving forward from here, we're live. We always like to like ask people like, I know we talked about it before too, but we just out of respect and everything. Like, is there anything you don't want to talk about, like that you don't want us to touch on? Because some people have like records, some people have like, some people got baby mama troubles. They don't want us.
No, I'm good, bro. I ain't never been in jail. I'm straight. But
Alhamdulillah.
yeah, just we can, like I said, obviously, um, yeah, we can dive into everything.
Oh
For
yeah.
real. I
for
mean,
sure.
I'm definitely here to like paint light to um one specific thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But like we can go through
Yeah.
everything from the past for sure.
Inshallah. Inshallah. You want to move the mic a little bit closer to you?
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
I bet for sure. All right, what's up? What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Ghost Talk. I am your host, Mohammed Sharif. To the right of me is,
Mahmoud Thunder.
and today we have an amazing guest. Honestly, I'm very excited for y'all to meet him, and for us to dive into this. And we've already had such amazing conversations outside of this space. And alhamdulillah, like as soon as you walked in, like the energy kind of shifted in the room, and it was vibes. But let's welcome in you, man.
No.
How you feeling, broski?
Good, family. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah,
Thanks for
alhamdulillah.
having me.
Oh yeah, for
My
sure,
brothers.
for sure. Oh yeah, for sure, brother. So in all honesty, bro, I wanted to just jump right into it with where me and you kind of met, right? The space. I know that you and inshallah we'll cover it. But you inhabit a lot of spaces at the same time, you know? You're not somebody who doesn't, you don't limit yourself to just one avenue or one space, mashallah,
For sure,
right?
for
And the space that we kind of met is the clothing brand space, right? And I wanted to kind of just start there and kind of explore that avenue. But your brand Cheeky, right? And I think it's a lot more than a brand. I know you're wearing the hat right now. It's dope. What was just jump into that. What was that like? Where did that inspiration come from? Like,
sure.
what made you want to? I know my favorite piece is the Mad Mullah shirt. That's tough. But like, what made you want to just kind of jump into that space?
So yeah, my brand Cheeky, series by Cheeky. But I've always been like, into fashion, into clothes, into production. I think I got bit by the bug when I was like super young. Um, like growing up, we're Somali. We got family all over the world, you feel me? So summers I would be in Toronto, I'd be in London, I'd be like in different spaces. So I remember going out to like London when I was like super young, like 15, 16. And then I was already into clothes, but like going out there, like at that age, kind of like, enhanced it for me.
Yeah.
I was coming back to America and I just felt like we were like behind on everything. You feel me?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've always been like into that, older brothers, older brother, cousins, all of that type of stuff put me on that. But before Cheeky, me and my friends from out here actually, we started a brand called Create Karma. And that started like 2011, 2011, 2012-ish. So one of my best friends growing up, his name is Niles. Niles Miller. He actually was, I guess I could say was. He doesn't really do it anymore, but he was an artist. He was a musician.
Yeah.
Super fire. One of them like kind of there was like that little renaissance of like rappers coming out of Minneapolis back then, like 09, 2010, 2011. A lot of people that y'all see now that might have made it, like he was in that crowd, like the Bobby Raps, the Allen Kingdoms, all those type of kids. Like, I grew up around like running around seeing those kids all the time. Those are the homies, especially Bobby. But so Niles and me kind of had this whole thing going on. It was called like Good Karma. And then one of our homies, Taylor, kind of was like, yo, y'all got this going on. Like he was performing, like, Soundset. I think he won like Twin Cities hip hop newcomer of the year. Like, so we had this little wave. I'm not gonna say I was his manager, but that was like, I was just with him every day,
Yeah.
basically. So, and I was going to school in Cleveland at the time. And then one of the homies was like, yo, like y'all always be wearing drip and stuff. Why don't we just start making it? So he kind of put the battery in the back and we're like, yeah, let's do it. So then we started doing that, not really knowing what we're doing, just screen printing t-shirts, passing it to the homies,
Where did the name come from?
So the name came from the name was Good Karma. And that was just something that my brother Niles actually came up with, and that was kind of like our cruise name a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
That's
And
tough.
yeah, and then
Just positive vibes all around.
exactly
Good
right.
vibes, yeah.
Yeah. I think he got it from like a Beanie Siegel line, like feel it in the air type thing. But uh, so yeah, back to that. So once we started doing that, you know, not really knowing what we're doing, not knowing about patent and like not knowing about, you know, like
Marketing,
exactly
that whole
all of that
yeah.
type of stuff. So then we started making the clothes, and when it was like time to really do it, we realized the name was taken already. You know,
Oh wow.
I mean, it's a big name, right?
Wow, another clothing brand was
Yeah,
same thing.
yeah,
Okay.
like whatever in the same space, right? So
I think it's a credit app too.
it's a lot of things now that you see it, right? So then,
Oh, it is.
so then
I didn't know that. Yeah.
so then we're like, yo, you know, my boy Taylor, he was like, yo, like I like the name, but we gotta like, you know. So we knew we wanted to keep the Karma part, so we ended up coming to Create Karma. That ended up sticking. That's when it was like, all right, website, like start pushing it. And then, you know, I was in Cleveland.
You going to school out there in
I was going to
Cleveland?
school out there. I was in the Cleveland State University in downtown Cleveland.
Okay.
And then, but I was always home, you know, like, you know what I'm
So
saying?
you were flying back to
All the time.
to Minnesota.
Yeah, you know, every chance I got. And I was going to my cousin at the time was going to school at St. John's in New York, so I'm always going to New York. I'm going to London. Like I'm
So you're somebody who definitely enjoys traveling.
exactly,
like, being
exactly.
yeah.
That's where the name "Where You Be At" comes from, right? Because
Okay.
moving.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
But so yeah, we started doing that, and then so it was kind of like, yo, you're in Cleveland. My buddy Taylor and Niles, they was out here. My buddy Taylor ended up going to Denver, and Niles stayed out here. So it was like everybody just like kind of like get their city popping. You feel me?
okay.
And then like, but this is the base, you know. So I was out in Cleveland getting it popping, throwing events, you know, pop ups, right? Like, you know, linking up with athletes, linking up with different brands, like doing whatever I could do to like get our name popping. It was definitely popping out there. And then we come home, do a bunch of stuff. Buddy was doing stuff in Denver, just Midwest, like real Midwest stuff,
Yeah.
you know. And then Studio 23 was actually like the first store to pick us up, like the first actual retailer. And shout out to Mo, good brother, Egyptian brother, one of our Muslim brothers. So he had it in there, and then at that time, this is before resellers. This is before, you know, like you can just get a sneaker store.
Yeah,
and
before
just,
like the hype culture.
none
and
of
all
that
took
right?
over, man.
You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about 2012, 2013, like real, like you had to wait in line to get them joints. You feel me?
Yeah.
And he was the only person in the city that had a Jordan contract. So anytime Jordans dropped, like his store was popping. You feel me? So he had us in there, and a lot of the stores that started off as like consignment, like yo, you know, like we just give them clothes, whatever they sell. You know what I'm saying? They take their percentage, we take ours, and whatever they sell, we take back. But
It sounds like a lot of the people like you be hanging out with are like people like they're doing stuff too.
for sure,
They're not like just chilling at the crib.
a lot of like, yeah, you know, you gotta like you should be able to find inspiration from your peoples. You feel
Yeah.
me? But yeah, so make a long story short, I don't want to stick on that too long, but yeah, we ended up getting into a bunch of retailers across America, Cleveland, Minnesota, Denver. You know, I ended up going to New York, and then yeah, it was a good run. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the homies; those are still my bros. But then around like 2016 ish, I think at the time I was in New York, living in Brooklyn full time, and then like, you know, like everything I do, I kind of want it to be like with a purpose. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to make clothes just to make clothes. Like everything I want, it has to have like, it's got to represent me. It's got to have a message. Not saying that didn't have a message, but like it has to be authentic to me, you know?
Yeah.
So maybe at the time that it started, it was authentic to me, but like as we were getting older, it was kind of like, all right, like I need something more personal to me. You feel me?
Yeah.
And like it felt like I was just kind of a part of something, whereas like I needed something that was mine, you know? So everybody kind of went their separate ways. And then yeah, I wasn't a part of Create Karma no more. I think my man's ended up like keeping it and changing the name to something else. I believe it still exists, but it's called something else. But so yeah, that's when like the whole Cheeky thing came out. You know, that's where the inspiration came.
And I know you were shooting videos with every drop that you were doing as well.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So like, so the thing about Cheeky is like, it's I wanted it to be like, you know, very like production-y, visually. Like every drop I had, I wanted to have visuals with it. You know, whether it's a video, whether it's a lookbook, whether it's like a documentary, short doc, like, because then that's when I was getting into like that whole production stuff. I was working at Viacom for MTV, and I was doing like, you know, like short films for them, social media stuff, like short docs, and that kind of like put me on. And that was at a time where like, you know, things are starting to like the space of production started changing to like this.
Yeah.
Like, just one man, couple cameras, a mic. You can get it popping. You don't need that whole big like production.
A whole studio. You don't need an entire
Exactly.
studio
And I
to
was
do
there
what
for
you do.
like I was really there when like that was changing. Like I kind of seen it, you know? Like it went from like putting big production budgets to like, yo, here's a camera, take your mans, here's a mic, go make some stuff happen.
figure it
Go
out.
to Philly. I remember we was in Philly for the RNC, the Republican National Convention. That was when like Trump was like running against Hillary. And we was in the streets, like just recording, like
Asking
interviewing
people
people. It was
questions.
crazy. And then we was in Cleveland for it too, for the DNC. No, we was in Philly for the DNC, the Democratic National Convention. And then Cleveland was the RNC. And I'm like interviewing like NRA dudes with like, you know, Ohio's an open carry state. They got their AR.
What's that space like? If I could ask quickly, like just you as an immigrant, like as a Somali guy, like as a black man in America.
Crazy. Like if you go on YouTube and stuff, like the videos are still up that MTV posted, like the ones that I did and stuff. And it was like, now that I look back at it, it's kind of intense. But yeah, like back then it was like, yo, I'm like interviewing people that like I know hate me, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
that's
like,
gotta
you know
be
what I'm saying?
wild.
Like I represent what like they are against.
Everything that they're against,
Exactly.
basically.
So that takes a lot of patience, and that takes like, you know,
You
like,
guys be
It must have been funny at first.
it was. I got a funny story about that actually. So we were at the RNC and we had like media passes, right?
Okay.
So they were having the actual convention inside the Quicken Loans Arena where the Cavs play.
Yep.
But then like they shut like all the downtown for like everything. So like there's a bunch of you know, like different companies there. CNN, Fox, Vice, you know, MTV, like from the biggest to the smallest, they
Yeah.
were there, right? So like there's like a few blocks that were cut off only for media, you know? So like people are interviewing people, you're interviewing the city. In Cleveland, you gotta understand it's 55% black. It's a black city.
Wow.
But then it's Ohio, and Ohio's like a very like when it comes to the other side of Ohio, it's a very red state, you know?
it
Like
is.
so it's like an interesting like culture clash, right? Yeah. So I remember like I still like me and him are still cool to this day. So he was actually working for Vice and I was working for MTV at the time, but it was Bun B and he was out there interviewing people for Vice, right? Mm-hmm. And you know Bun B, he's a rapper from Houston, from Port Arthur, Texas, legend, UGK. So me and Bun B's down there, whatever. I end up bumping into him. I'm chopping it up like, yo, you know, like whatever small talk, like, yo, I'm here for Vice. Okay, I'm here for MTV, yada yada. We exchange numbers. He's cool as hell, so we keep it pushing. And then I end up doing some other interviews with my homie Mark, who's the videographer guy. And then we end up seeing Alex Jones. You know who Alex Jones is?
No.
Like the white dude who's like you know, that's like the one that's like, you know, Ilhan Omar is gonna
he just be going crazy. Yeah.
You know, and he got banned from everything.
Yeah.
YouTube, you know, Twitter, everything,
Alex
right?
Jones, yeah.
So he was popping back then. He was on like his Trump thing. You know what I'm saying? Like he's the one that got to pay all those Sandy Hook victims like billions of dollars that he doesn't have because he said it was like fake.
Yeah.
So he's
That guy's wild.
very wild. So I run into Alex Jones and then I'm like, yo, can we interview you? Like, low-key, you know what I'm saying? But he's interviewing people for his own thing. And he's like, whatever. Like, so he's kind of looking at me. He's got a bunch of NRA dudes with him with guns and stuff. That's his security guards, right? So then I think Bun B ends up seeing us like talking to him. So Bun B like runs up like, yo, like, you know, lame ass, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're racist, you're this, you're that, blah, blah. So him and Bun B are going at it. They're like face to face, like about to box, you know?
Yeah.
But then I'm like, yo, Bun B, chill. Like, look behind him. Like, I don't think you want that.
He got the boys with him.
Exactly. So I look, he kind of saved him. And then after that, he was like, yo, I appreciate you, bro, blah, blah. You held it down for me. It almost turned left. I'm like, you're good, bro. But yeah, that was the environment in there.
Wow.
You feel me?
That is intense, bro.
Yeah,
Wallah, that's intense.
That's crazy.
I really appreciate that kind of insight that you gave us. I wanna jump back real quick because I feel like, and we said this earlier too, like you inhabit a lot of spaces, you've done a lot of things. Allahu Mubarak, mashallah. Where did it all start? I want to get a little bit into the origins. Like, where did you grow up? What was your upbringing like? I know you talked about you know, that you caught the bug early, right? Mm-hmm. Like, what were your influences in terms of like wanting to get into media, right? And wanting to get into helping other people as well, because that's something that you do with your center as well. So just kind of shed some light on that.
Like just the background in general. As far as me, I was born in the DMV,
Okay.
Washington D.C. area. So yeah, I came to Minnesota when I was like 5.
So
I-
young.
yeah, super young.
Yeah.
Like so this is where I'm from. Even though I was born in the East Coast, like I remember it. Don't get it twisted. But I was born out there. Came out here in the '90s, and then I actually my first few years out here I spent in a small town. I lived in Owatonna, Minnesota. if you're familiar,
The boondies.
Yes, the 507.
Yeah.
And that place actually like
Took me a
had-
second to adjust because I was like,
Oh,
where's that
Tana.
at?
Yeah.
You had to think for a second. Like,
Owatonna.
it's not that bad though. Otana's not that
Nah, not
that
at
far
all,
out the
not at
city
all.
though.
Nah, yeah, Otona's like I think like 45 hours outside the city. But
Yeah.
Otana actually holds a very special place in my heart because that's where I went to like elementary school and stuff. I was there probably until like
A lot of
grade.
Somalis out there.
Back then for sure.
Yeah.
It was deep, you know.
Probably still is.
Yeah, there still is for
Yeah.
sure. And like back then we were like, you know, there was only like two neighborhoods in Otana you could live. There's only like 2 Section 8 apartments, you know?
Yeah.
It's called Bridgecourt and St. Paul Place. And it's funny that most of the people that I like, not most, but a lot of people that I ended up like kind of growing up with in Minneapolis, or like people that I've known since I was a kid, they from out there originally too. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
like there's that whole community. So yeah, I was born in DC, moved to Minnesota, and then lived in Otana for my first few years, and then moved to Minneapolis when I was like, I think like 11.
Right.
Yeah, I moved to Minneapolis when I was like 11, and then yeah, grew up out here. You feel me? So yeah, like over south, you know, pops lived like in Elliott Park, moms lived like in the 30s. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
You just
And then yeah, around like, you know, as soon as high school finished, like I did the dash. You know what I'm saying? I knew I didn't want to like be here. Like
Yeah.
I love it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but
So I wanted to, me and him were talking about that too, like how dope that is. But not a lot of, especially like now it's a little bit changing, but like not a lot of folks was going out of state. Not a lot of Somali folks from Minnesota was going out of state. It was like a scary thing to our parents. You know, even I wanted to go out of state
sure.
for school, you know, and my parents were like, fuck no, you ain't going out of state.
yeah,
for
I was
school."
the first one in my family too. Like
Yeah.
even my cousins that ended up eventually doing it, like I was the one first.
Did you have some like anxiety and fear about that, or was it like straight up like I'm good, I'm trying to get up out of here?
I think it was like I'm good. I'm trying to get up out of here. But then when I ended up leaving, it ended up hitting me. Like,
Okay,
damn, you know?
yeah.
But it was kind of like I feel like I had like kind of like big dreams. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And I felt like, you know, Minneapolis, I kind of had like a glass ceiling. Like some of the stuff I told people would be like, you know, like I could just
Yeah.
kind of see it in their face. Like they didn't really think it was
Possible.
They looked at you crazy.
Yeah. And
We get looks like that a lot.
exactly. And I don't blame them because like
Yeah.
there is like a glass ceiling in the city.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that it's on the person. You feel me? I believe that once you leave, and even if you don't ever like move, but if you travel, you start seeing other things. You can tell that
Yeah.
like, you know, there's like stuff that you can do. It doesn't matter where you are, especially nowadays. You know.
Mhm, definitely.
So
And then
It's a
so
gang,
you
you
went
know,
to school in Cleveland, and
Yeah.
then you went to school also in New York City, right?
So I went to Ohio. I was in Cleveland. I was out there for a minute, you know, graduated, and over that was like a place. That was probably the first place that really showed me like, surprisingly, because it's just like a random like
Yeah,
Midwest city, right?
Yeah.
Like kind of sounds crazy, right? But Cleveland actually, like I met some of the most talented people from
Oh,
out
yeah.
there, some of the dopest people, and I was kind of out. I came up at a time in Cleveland where like a lot of the people that like I was like, you know, very cool with back then, that I am still to this day, like ended up all doing dope big things. So it wasn't like very far fetched for me,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So like, because there's just a lot of talented people from out there. So, so yeah, and then obviously after Ohio, I ended up going to, you know, I was like, you know, it's time to go to the big city. You feel me? Get it popping. You feel me? Like,
Yeah.
not really knowing like exactly what I wanted to do. Just know that I wanted to be out there and like do like some of the stuff that I'm doing currently at that. But
Yeah.
I got out there, you know what I'm saying? Got thrown in the jungle, and it's like, you know,
New York's a crazy place. man.
exactly.
New York's a crazy place. We just came back. The three of us just came back from New York.
Yeah.
What was it, like a month ago?
Yeah.
Time flies. Time flies. But
Right before Ramadan last time.
it's like the most human city. that you can. That's the best way I can explain it. Like, you can feel the humanity in everybody there.
That's a
you
good
know?
way to explain it.
Yeah, like it's a very like
It's real.
compared to like other places, like other big cities, like LA, and like it's not really like that, bro.
I'm not a
Like,
fan of LA.
New
People are
York,
just more interesting to me.
it's a
Yeah.
very interesting place.
New York is very like it's what you make it. So like people would
Exactly.
think like, yo, New York, like New York's actually the place that actually ended up making me a homebody. Like I'm a homebody because of New York, because you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta choose your battles. Every time you step outside, you gotta know like
Yeah.
it might be a lot. You feel
Yeah.
me? In every circumstance. Like it might be a lot that you spend.
Yep.
It might be a lot of energy that you know what I'm saying,
You
gotta give out.
You gotta walk them 30 blocks when the subway late. It's gonna be a bitch and a half.
So New York ended up, and that's why I love Brooklyn, because Brooklyn was like, it was kind of my getaway from Manhattan, right?
Yeah.
Like, if I don't want to go in the city, I'm just cooling in Brooklyn. Go to my bodega, go to my 1-2 spots.
Yep.
I'm the best I with it.
Culture. What's the culture like there?
That's like the definition of like New York is not America. Like you know what I'm saying? Like and what I mean by that, like New York, London, Toronto, those are low key the three same cities.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I'm saying? You
I've
feel
been
me?
to all three, and
Exactly.
it gives me the same vibe.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're
Like,
very
even
right.
the way that people talk, the way that people dress, the background of everybody, you know, Caribbean, African, Latino, you know what I'm saying? Like, so those three cities definitely remind me of each other, but I love it, man. It's the greatest city in the world, you know? I definitely see myself, you know, being back there eventually.
Inshallah, inshallah.
Yeah, I'm about to go back next
Oh
year.
yeah, we go there all the time.
Hey,
all the time.
I'm still out there for sure.
So while you was out there, of course, you did some NGO work with the UN as well.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
So basically that was like, you know, all like everything else that I've been doing as far as like, you know, clothes, you know, any other passion projects, any other business, any of those like things, those are just things that like I feel like are like my passions that I'm like maybe naturally good at, things I'm interested in. But like as far as that stuff, like that's my like, you know, like that's my real passion. Like I got my, you know, bachelor's degree in political science or international relations, my master's degree in political science or international relations. So like that's where that's my
That's what I got.
actual-
That's what I got my bachelor's in as well.
Exactly. So that's my actual technically
Yeah.
specialty, right? So I went to a university of Long Island University in Brooklyn, and they actually had a master's program that was joined in with the UN. It was like the only school that you could get a United Nations graduate certificate. So like, so I did the master's in international relations with basically like a concentration in UN studies. So when I was working at Viacom, when I was at MTV and stuff, it was like, yo, you know, corporate life. It was
Yeah.
cool.
So
I'm
was
meeting-
that in New York as well?
That was in New York, yeah.
Okay.
So like, you know, it's cool. I'm meeting cool people. I'm doing dope things, but it was kind of like this isn't me. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though like I could see myself doing that,
Yeah.
it just kind of felt like, you know, like, and plus these people are not listening. I'm giving them dope ideas,
Yeah.
and telling them all these things, and then
Yeah.
you got people that don't even look like us that are trying to tell you about the culture and stuff, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a lot
So,
of that.
Exactly.
There's a lot of that.
And I didn't see any like, I didn't see like, you know,
Any upward mobility
exactly,
in that
or
space.
people that looked like me that were at least above me,
Yeah.
that, you know, that could inspire me. So it was kind of like, okay, let me go back to school and do what I know I'm good at, you know? So that's how I ended up going back to school and then getting my master's in what I got my master's in.
Yeah.
And then so then while I was in school getting my master's, I ended up working for one NGO that was funded by the UN.
What is an NGO?
Yeah.
Non-government
someone that-
organization. That's what an
Non-government
NGO
organization.
is.
Okay.
For those who
There's
didn't do it.
NGOs and then there's IGOs. IGOs are international government organizations, right? So IGO is like a UN.
So like UNICEF is like an NGO.
That's an IGO.
IGO,
technically.
okay,
And then IGOs fund NGOs.
Okay.
So they give NGOs to do their work, right? And then like, so I'm working for NGOs, but the NGO I was working for is inside the UN.
Okay.
So like we're doing studies and research for the UN. Like we're trying to come up solutions for the UN. So like something we work on is like disarmament.
Yeah.
Trying to disarm certain regions of the world, right?
World Hunger.
Or like FGM. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like you know, so I ended up like being really interested in like conflict resolution, peace building, development, sustainability, like because I feel like that's like,
Yeah.
you know, what is needed from us in the world right now, especially where we come from.
Oh
you know?
yeah. And a big thing too is like so I did political science because I was interested, and you can attest to this too. I was interested in why people do what they do. And when you study, so I studied politics and I studied religion. When you study these two kind of spaces, you kind of start understanding why Europeans act the way that they act.
100%.
You know what I mean? Why Africans act the way that they act. Why Asians, you start getting the hang of it. And like, I went to Chicago and I did Model UN as well. And like, that's probably Model UN is like breadcrumbs compared to like UN. But like, I'm sitting there and they give us something that like a problem to solve, or like we're on a project. And you start to realize like, yo, this shit is way more complicated than the news and the media and the world makes it out to be, right? Something as simple as like disarmament, which is like to the outside world, it's like, just put y'all fucking guns down. Why y'all killing each other? Right?
What are you guys doing at Model UN?
Model UN is like, so I think like an example is one thing we did was like counterterrorism, right? And we had to, because now there's, back then, like in the early 2000s, they didn't give a fuck about like understanding, you know, they didn't care about none. It was a very Western idea of counterterrorism, which is like just bomb everybody, right? It was crazy, just get rid of everybody. But now we had to just like look at, okay, it wasn't even in the space of like terrorism, like, oh, people blowing up buildings. It was cyber terrorism. It was like agriculture. Yeah, it's so detailed and yeah, it's very detailed and nuanced.
And even the definition of terrorism
exactly
changed, right?
And then you're sitting there and like you're in the meetings and you're trying to like talk to people and you're spending like, you're not even really solving the issue. You're spending days on end talking about resolutions.
Right.
Oh no, I don't agree with this specific saying in this specific resolution because it's gonna affect the European Union a certain way, and I'm a delegate from the European Union. Oh, I'm a delegate from the African Union, and I think we should have reparations in the, you know what I mean? And it's very, very complicated. So and I think that at the end of the day, what a connection I can see from all the different kind of work that you do is you're really in the business of understanding people and understanding humanity, 100%. You know, and I really do appreciate that. 100%. I think that's dope. And I feel like to a certain extent, I can definitely relate to that because I'm in these kind of different spaces, but I love seeing people do what they do and why they do it and understanding the cultures and this, that, and the third. And it's really dope, man. It's really cool.
I appreciate it, my brother. I feel like, you know, even to go off of what you said, like, I just feel like life is really a game of politics, right? Like, if you can understand, like, and I don't mean by like being like political and like being politically correct or being calculated, but like, if you can understand the way the world operates, like if you can look at it in like a broader lens, like an international lens, you can understand like kind of how to navigate in the world, right? And understand how to move around and understand, like, it helps you with business, it helps you with relationships with people, it helps you with a lot of things. And then another reason why I also studied what I studied is kind of like, you know, I kind of just want to, when all of this is said and done, I kind of just want to retire as like a professor somewhere, like warm, just teaching kids. Like,
it's fun.
Out of school.
I ain't gonna lie, being that I can see myself doing the same thing. It's like, especially in that space, like people I feel like kind of underestimate
100%
what we're doing in those classes. Like it's a lot more fun.
So that I'm actually gonna go back and get my PhD.
Well, I'll be honest, I was one of those people too, because I didn't know what you do.
You just, people just think like, yo, these guys are just out here arguing,
right? It depends on which way you want to go. So like, if you want to go like the, you know, like the diplomatic way that I decided to go, you know, or you want to
there's pre-law as well.
Yeah, you want to go the American way, you know what I'm saying?
You can go and get your PhD, so you can become a professor.
You can go get your PhD, which I plan on doing.
Inshallah.
You can, inshallah, you can go to, like, you know, a lot of kids, it's like a pre-law. So a lot of people go to law schools, you know, and some people just say, hey, this is something I enjoyed, I'm going to go to med school. I'm gonna get into business, like
do something else.
There's a lot of different things you can do with it, but it's definitely a degree that it's if you decided like if you decided like not go to school anymore, you can get a job and people are gonna be like, oh well, you weren't studying like communications, like, you know?
shout out to the communication majors. I think Hamza was a communication major. Our one of our co-hosts.
No shots
fired. No shots fired at all. Shout out to the communication majors. That's dope, wallah. Wow, wallah, mashallah, bro. I love that. That's dope. So I think we kind of got to talk about this too. We kind of alluded to it a few times, but you did work at MTV.
I did.
That's dope. That's fucking amazing. Allahu Mubarak, bro. Congratulations on that. What was that? I know you talked about it a few times and you touched on it, but like, I'm very curious. Like, I feel like a lot of people are too, to a certain extent, you know, like when when you do say like, yo, I worked at MTV, like I know a lot of people's eyes like go like,
Wilding
whoa.
out.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wilding out is on
exactly what
MTV.
I'm-
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't have cable growing up, so I heard about MTV. Like I watched it on YouTube and shit,
Right,
but
right.
I know MTV Cribs.
Right. That's a fact. Legendary.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you like me. So I grew up like, you know, MTV, like
Yeah.
MTV
Yeah.
Cribs.
Yeah. Is it Pimp My Ride on the?
Yeah. That's all under that umbrella.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Lala, like all of them, like type of.
So my question is this: that is a very and this is me speaking from the outside looking in. Well, you don't work there anymore, so it doesn't matter. But that's a very like black space.
It is.
Is there a lot of black faces that are working?
No. So
Wow.
So to go back, actually, I got hired technically. I ended up, you know, switching over, but
Yeah.
I got hired at MTV News. This is when
Okay.
they were still like, you know, jugging the news thing.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
They were trying to fake compete with Vice, but MTV News, like when I was a kid, was actually dope. They used
Yeah.
to like be the only like kind of like
Alternative kind
yeah
of.
that would touch base on stuff that you know the big news companies wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Like they would touch base on like kind of like more street culture. Just like now the way that like all these other newses are, maybe like a Complex or a
Yeah.
Vice or all of that. Like MTV News was the first.
Complex is dope.
Exactly.
Complex.
So so you know, being a political science background, yada yada.
Okay,
I
yeah. The
had a
journalist.
friend actually that kind of just threw me out of the U. They were looking for somebody, and it started off as some freelance, like
Yeah.
yo, like here's a week, a work's a work, like let's see how it goes. And then I did that week, then I did another week, and then I was like, yeah, actually, you know, I live in New York now, like blah blah.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait, what? Like, pull up,
Yeah.
you got a job. So that's how it really happened. Then I went from like doing a couple like I did like the RNC and the DNC with MTV News,
yep,
and
yep.
then I moved to New York, and then I shifted over to regular MTV, and
Okay.
then I was just like a social media, you know, associate producer, and then that's when it was kind of like, you know, I'm going you know, festivals, I'm interviewing artists, you know, some like it would be like super dope. Like some of
Yeah.
the stuff I did was like OD wavy. Like yo, today you're about to go to Run the Jewels and
Yeah.
be with Killer Mike all day, and
Oh,
like
wow.
you know what I'm saying. And I'm in like this mansion and like and you know like
Some crazy shit.
Westchester,
Yeah.
like outside of New York City, and I spent 2 days with Killer Mike. You know what I'm saying?
Just
Me and him just chopping it up,
chopping
like
it up, yeah.
watching him record his album, and then
Yeah.
now we're at this festival where Run the Jewels is performing, and
Yeah.
then another day it's like, yo, take this microphone and go to Washington Square Park and
Just ask people questions.
bring this dude in like a monkey suit and like interview some NYU students, right?
Yeah.
So like that's what it was, you
It's a
know?
very big
Some
spectrum.
wavy stuff, and then some crazy stuff, and then some stuff that even low key would kind of you know, maybe test your morals a little bit. You feel me?
Yeah.
So but it was cool. It was a cool experience. Like, you know, I wasn't getting paid nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Not enough to live in New York City.
Yeah.
But as a young bull, it did the job. I met a lot of dope people. Some of the people that I ended up working with that ended up, you know, leaving eventually, they're doing dope stuff. You know, they're
Yeah.
at a bunch of different organizations. They're doing, some people are on, you know, got their own shows now, you know, like Netflix, you know, HBO, all of those people. So those are my dogs still. But yeah, it was definitely like it was like, I definitely used it to my,
Yeah, to your advantage.
for sure. Like,
Yeah,
I
and
have
that's
a
a good
little
thing.
Viacom card. I'll pull up to any little party in New York, and I'm
Yeah.
like, you know, it's Kodak performing. I'm like, yo, I'm on the list. And they're like,
Yeah.
no, you're not. I'm like, bro, I'm recording today. And
Yeah.
they're like, oh, let this guy in, you know?
This guy, yeah.
So
That's
you
what's
know,
up.
As a young boy, it's fun for sure.
I feel like you gotta have some crazy people skills to do that though. Like in terms of communicating and being able to like adjust to these kind of
For sure, for
spectrums.
sure,
Like
for
what
sure.
was that like?
I mean, the people skills will definitely like, you know, maybe get you like the opportunity. But
Yeah.
once you get in the door, you gotta like,
You gotta put the work.
you gotta
in.
work. You feel me?
Yeah.
And that's when you get tested. Like, so, you know, you could talk that talk, but then, you know, like after a while, it's like, okay, are you just a talker, or do
Yeah.
you like really like? So, you know, all that, like, you know, just the background, just being from where I'm from, being from Minneapolis, growing up,
Being Somali.
being Somali, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Having that gift of the gab. You
Yo,
feel me?
the gift
So-
of the gap. I feel like every Somali person at heart is a New Yorker.
100%.
Because you lived in New York. Could you attest to that? Because everything. Yeah.
I feel like you know, I feel like if our parents like if our parents didn't choose, you know what I'm saying, these areas like
Yeah.
the Columbuses, the Minneapolis, the
yeah.
Seattle's, like if we like were like, because originally like my dad came to America like late 70s,
Wow.
early 80s. You feel me? My mom mid 80s. Like I got my,
So early.
early, right?
Early
So
folks.
those people back. That's why when I'm saying I was born in DC, like
Yeah.
the Quixote, like they were all like from the East Coast,
Yep,
right?
yep.
DC, New York,
New York.
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So,
Virginia, like that Virginia area. Yup,
exactly.
yup,
So,
yup,
like,
yup.
my
yup.
dad used to tell me stories on how him and my uncles, and they would always go up to New York, see their homies.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking about back in the day. You feel me? And there's some people that never left too. So
Yeah.
if that whole thing kind of like if we ended up being where we're really supposed to be, which is the
Yeah.
East Coast, where like most Africans are from, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, our culture would be like, we would have
Would
like
be
America on smash, because we would be in New York.
Yeah.
People would know. Like now, people are hearing about Somali people. We're
It's
starting to
coming up though.
We're starting to get in these areas, these spaces,
Yeah.
but it's like we coming from places that are like really like, you know, not.
Very small markets.
You feel me?
Yeah.
I think a
But
lot of
you
that.
see-
I think a lot of that also came from London as well.
Yeah, so
London
like,
is
you see London,
London,
you know,
Toronto, they're doing
yeah,
a great job because
exactly.
that's the culture. I'm not gonna lie, in
Exactly.
London and Toronto is
Exactly.
Somali folks. So
Exactly.
I think that's dope. But yeah, bro, I went to New York a few times and I'm like, bro, these are my people, bro.
Telling you, bro.
They talk their shit like
Telling you.
like everything except for like New Yorkers. Well, most New Yorkers, one thing they're good at is they mind their business. I don't think Somalis are very good at minding
Nah.
their business.
But I
We
think
in
we-
everybody's
I know what
business.
you're saying.
Like,
Like this.
what's going on over there?
I think we adapt. I don't think we
Yeah.
could be on a J train looking at like we'd be looking.
Oh
at
no,
people
that's
like that.
one
You know
thing.
what I'm saying? Like,
We're so good at blending in.
yeah.
We're so good at blending in.
know
When
what
it's
I'm
free for all,
Because
it's
you
what
know,
it's up. But like,
you know, like these little Somali moms, they be looking at you like
Yeah.
these old ladies. Like if you on one of these trains and looking at these people, like
yeah,
I
like
was
that. Yeah,
like what you looking at? You feel me?
yeah.
That wouldn't work. But definitely, I think we would have blended in, and then we would have just been.
I seen
more
that.
Like,
I seen that in How I Met Your Mother, bro. That was one of the,
Yeah, yeah.
one of the
feel me?
clips. Yeah,
Yeah, like-
they're like, bro, you see
can't-
if you see someone crying on the train, they're like,
Mind your
bro, mind your
business.
bro, the stuff I would see on the train. Yeah, that's a whole.
That subway is it's
Yeah.
a whole nother. The New York stories is like a whole nother way we could get into,
They're
man.
like, how I still cannot navigate through that, bro.
What the
actually-
subway? It's
yeah.
not that bad.
It's actually.
I think I'm pretty
easy.
used to it now.
It's
We
pretty.
were missing
easy.
like stops at the stops when we were there.
Yeah, but then it depends on.
Because y'all wasn't listening to
It
me. That's
also-
why.
It also depends because you know at like certain times like
Mm-hmm.
it turns into express trains, so like certain spots they're gonna skip.
Yeah.
So you gotta know that. But New York is literally like it could be cleaner when it comes to the subway and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
But there's no public transit in the world that's rocking with it. Like even London, like and I
Oh,
used to
terrible.
like in London now is just starting to go up until like 2 a.m. Like
Yeah.
back in the day when I used to be out there, it would end at like
But it's
midnight.
terrible. Mm-hmm.
No, London is actually nice. I'll give them that. Their trains I think are nice. They move really fast. They're a lot cleaner.
They are cleaner,
than
yeah.
New York.
I don't know what it is. I just don't like maybe it was like because it was late all the time, or maybe we was
The
missing.
spacing is kind of.
But I
weird,
was
too.
like, bro, I hate this fucking subway. I wanted to just get away from
I
it.
feel you.
And like, it's not really an experience the way
Right,
that
right,
when you go to New York, like you gotta go on the subway. That's
Yeah,
a
it
that's a
takes you
whole
through-
thing.
It
You know?
takes you into a whole city.
Yeah.
Like London, there's certain spots it doesn't go through. You got to hop on the bus.
You know what's underrated though is the L train in Chicago. That's underrated. The L train in Chicago.
No, Chicago. I'm not gonna lie. You could. That's another city you could probably move around without a car.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like how
I
it's
wouldn't
up-
claim it. I
up,
wouldn't try it. But
up in the air too. Like it's-
exactly.
yeah.
That's how New York is too. You know, certain it goes from underground
Yeah,
to
to
overground.
up. Yep.
London is not like that. London has overground and underground. It's two separate trains,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you know? So London is a whole nother. I actually studied abroad in London for a year. When I was in Cleveland, I ended up going out there
Yeah.
and living out there. And that was
And
that
the
was
culture,
definitely the experience.
the culture is so
I
different.
love
out
it,
there.
man. I
Yeah.
like besides I used to say London is my favorite city in the world. Now I say New York's my favorite city in the world, but London is definitely
Up there.
second
Yeah.
for sure.
The food there is good.
The food is good. People hate
People
it.
hate on it. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know where they be going.
Yeah,
I know some
food there was
spots.
good. The food in New York,
But they got a lot. They got a lot more dessert spots.
Yeah, they're a little bit more like bakey
Yeah.
and sweetie. That's where they're like that European comes in a little bit, you know. But like as us, like it caters to us more, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot more halal spots. There's a lot more.
oh yeah,
feeders,
hell
Yeah.
yeah.
you know?
I love that. I love that. I
You
love
know,
that.
there's a lot of like there's a lot of culture out there. So
Hopefully,
way better.
hopefully we can make Minneapolis like.
you know,
I really do have a lot of faith in Minneapolis, like
sure.
because I've been here most of my life, you know. So I don't know, but it would be nice for like you were saying for some of my folks to just be like, "Fuck Minneapolis, let's go." But like, I really think we can make Minneapolis like that city, especially like
100%.
if we just kind of just like started working together a little bit more and
agree.
all that stuff.
And-
but
and-
it's changing though.
and
it really is.
to even like I was never on some like fuck Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Like I was more so on some like let me get out of my environment.
Yeah, of
It
course.
doesn't
No, I
really,
understand.
I don't feel like I could really succeed in this right now at the age I'm at,
Yeah.
the stuff that I'm seeing, everything, like it wasn't really I needed to leave to come back. You feel me? And I think everybody should do that.
Yeah.
And whether it's for a couple months, for a couple weeks, for 10 years like I did,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Leave, go see the world,
Come back. Yeah.
get some ideas.
And some perspective. I think perspective is very important.
Change your settings,
Yeah.
change your environments. You know, some other gura magurso. You feel me?
Oh.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
So that's tough.
like anytime,
That's tough.
anytime they say something is like, you know, if you're not like, you know, you got to make some shit shake. You know,
Yeah, you gotta make some shit.
and
shake.
why do they say that? Because you know, good is baraka. You know what I'm saying?
It's perspective too.
I mean,
like,
gursa is baraka. You
Yeah.
feel me? And then good is like another change in environment,
Yeah.
and you could come back and you know you could do what you got to do. You feel me?
you know, 100%.
But so like I definitely first of all like I want to commend our people. I think
Oh yeah.
I don't think we get the respect that we deserve. Like
from just ourselves
no,
first.
from ourselves. First from ourselves. I don't think we give ourselves the respect
Yeah.
that we deserve. I think we highlight too many
The negative stuff.
negative stories, and I believe it's like kind of like you know the outside world and us just kind of folding into it. You know, like social media.
Yeah, sensationalism and all that
you know,
crazy shit.
trolls,
Yeah.
like you know. Then there's like this weird other Somali people from different cities that'd be like, "Yo,
Yeah.
like Zoom Mollies and this and this."
They
but,
beyond that.
but
They
I see-
beyond
I
that.
see y'all here every summer. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
There you go.
All my
That's
cousins.
is that the shit we say every year.
All my cousins from
Yeah.
all over the world, like you know, what I'm
come
saying?
right here.
They here. They don't.
Of all
they, don't
the
they don't be.
places.
They don't be talking greasy, but I just be seeing it. You know.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, you got people in London, you got people in Toronto, you got people in Seattle, you got people in Dago migrating here, trying to find them a wife to get a
Yeah.
visa. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because there's opportunities
Oh
here.
yeah, of course.
Because there's it's a great place to raise a family.
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
great place to start a business. You know, it's a great place to be. You
You
feel
got
me?
messages everywhere. It's a beautiful environment,
So
man.
let's not play with the city, man.
And we and I say this every single time, but like in the time frame that we did that, because like you said, Minneapolis isn't a place Somalis came in the 70s and 80s. This is like late 90s, early 2000s
Feel
that
me?
folks
And
started.
not
coming
only
in.
that, like I also want to say, the time frame is crazy because
Yeah.
all these other places had head starts,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because even the Malis that are like maybe now like these younger kids like in these 2000 babies and
Yeah.
stuff, late 90s babies, they're starting to be like, oh, I was born in Minnesota. But even the people that are live in Minnesota that were born in America, they originally were like, I was born in Dago, I was
Yeah.
born in DC, I was born in
Yeah,
Seattle.
That's
you
true.
know?
Yeah.
So like
So like otherwise, a lot of people came straight from Africa, right? So
Yeah.
so these other places, like most of the Somalis in Minnesota, like really are, you know, not only immigrants, they're really refugees. Like they
Yeah.
really came from refugee camps. Like they
Straight
really
from-
we saw qahen, they've
Yeah.
seen war. You know what I'm saying? People that would be traumatized, PTSD, all of that, and are overcoming these things and doing what they're doing. You can't
It's
compare it to these
amazing.
other places because
Yeah.
those other places, most of them people got out before the war, right?
Yeah.
Or they got out right when it kicked off. You know, you're talking about people that were coming in the late '90s, early 2000s. You know, they was in a war-torn country for 10 years, maybe in a camp for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like they
'Cause
imagine
the
what
war
they seen.
started. The war started in 91.
Exactly. So people to like do that and then like get the respect that they get in their state. You know what I'm saying? You know, like you see what these politicians are willing to
yeah.
do for our votes, right?
Yeah, they are. They're willing to
You
do a
know,
lot.
so-
They're learning Somali to get our votes.
on,
They're
bro.
out here talking about Setihi
And-
you see that shit?
Yeah. And there's no immigrant group.
Yeah.
There's no like you know how they compare all these immigrant groups. You know, like you had Trump being like, "Oh, we need to give our visas to the Indians and the people that are doing tech and all of that."
Yeah.
Like, and I got love for all immigrants. I got love for all first generation, second generation Americans.
Yeah.
But there's no immigrant group in the state of Minnesota
That's doing what
we're doing.
Yeah, that's
Period.
facts. That's
You
fact.
feel me? When you come to Minnesota, it doesn't matter where you are. If you're in southeast Minnesota, you're in Minneapolis, you're in southwest Minnesota, all the way as far as up to Duluth, like you're gonna feel the Somali culture one way or another.
yeah.
You know, you're gonna see you're gonna see a store, you're gonna see a bus driver, you're gonna see
Everywhere.
an auntie where you know what I'm saying, you're gonna see somebody. Like,
Yeah. And there's nothing better than like your folks, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Exactly,
There's
man.
nothing better than Somali folks and
I think
just being around your culture, man.
and I think we take that for granted.
Yeah.
Our people take that for granted. And I've noticed
Especially
that a lot.
especially kids that grew up in Minnesota. Especially kids. 'Cause I have homies that like they eat because like places like Seattle, even like Atlanta, New York, they have big like like a decent sized Somali population, but it's not the way that it is in Minnesota. And when they come over here, they're like, bro, this place is dope. There's Somalis everywhere, you know? So what did he say? Oh, Sammy said there's too much Somalis.
Yeah.
There's Somalis everywhere.
It's not. I agree, but even like
Every corner I
These
go,
other-
wow, it's over there.
these other cities that have just as much as us, I just don't think they're as ingrained in the
Oh yeah,
in the
in the community and in the culture.
You know what I'm
and
saying?
yeah.
The foundation of the city. Like we're ingrained in the infrastructure, you know? And they're getting there. I think
Oh, yeah.
I think Seattle's doing a great job. I think Ohio, they're starting to step up a little bit.
Ohio's a dope place. though.
Yeah.
Ohio's
I got
a
love
dope
for the
place.
double O, man.
Yeah.
I was in Cleveland. I wasn't in Columbus, but
Yeah.
I would go there here and there. But I got love for Ohio for sure.
Yeah.
Some talented people coming out of there too, doing good things. But no place is like home for sure.
Yeah, no places like home, a lot. Mashallah, bro. You've lived a life, you've had a journey. Now you're back in Minnesota. And now you have this business Beyond the Spectrum.
Yes.
I love it. We've been talking about it for some time now, and I think it's amazing. I
That's
think
a
it's dope.
dope. That's a
I
dope
love the
ass
name too, Beyond
Yeah.
the Spectrum.
Thank
Could just kind of like give us. Nobody can do it like you know. So just tell us a little bit about that business and shed some light on it, please.
So Beyond the Spectrum, it is ABA Center. ABA is Applied Behavior Analysis, which is the therapy you use for kids with ASD, Autism Spectrum Disorder. And then we're an EIDBI provider in the state of Minnesota, which is Early Intensive Development Behavioral Intervention. So basically, we work with kids on the spectrum. And
So that's where the name Beyond the Spectrum comes.
beyond the
That's dope.
spectrum,
Yeah.
that's where the name comes from, because we want the kids to be, to be beyond the spectrum. Like, we
Yeah.
don't want that to just, be like what they're labeled as for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
I think it's something that is very livable with.
Oh yeah.
I think that even with ABA, it's the number one thing used with people that have autism. But like, I'm not on the spectrum. I don't have autism, but I apply ABA to my life every day. So it's like,
Okay.
it's like anybody could apply it, whether if you have ADD, ADHD, or you're just a regular person. Like, I think it's very important for all of us, because regardless of
ABA.
applied behavior analysis,
Okay.
it's a type of study.
Okay.
It's a type of behavior. It's like, it's a form of therapy
Yeah.
that you use with kids on the spectrum or related disorders. So
okay.
ADHD, ADD, autism, Asperger's. That's a spectrum still,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But yeah, so we're basically an autism center for children from ages 3 to 18. I moved back from New York to start this. It was a long process.
Yeah.
It took me a few years. During the process, laws were changed. Things occurred.
Yeah.
It tested everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like tested everything in me. A lot of patience, a lot of like trial and error,
Yeah.
a lot of almost giving up, but we never given up. You feel
Yeah,
me?
100%.
All of that stuff. But it's I'm not the only one doing it either. There's other brothers and sisters that own autism centers as
Yeah,
well. So salute to them.
Yeah.
Salute to all our Somali brothers, all our non-Somali brothers and sisters
Yeah.
that are in the field. Because mental health is serious.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Definitely is.
So,
Definitely is.
but I think with our people, I don't want to be labeled like a Somali center. I'm not a Somali center.
Yeah.
I'm a Somali man, Somali person
Yeah.
that owns a center.
Yeah.
But so with that being said, whether I want to be labeled it or not, I'm always gonna represent my people, right?
100%.
So we got kids from all walks of life that are at our center. Our staff represents Minneapolis and St. Paul. So it looks like, what Minneapolis and St. Paul looks like.
yeah.
You feel me? So we got our Somali sisters, we got our non-Somali sisters, we got a African American doctor.
Yeah. Very diverse
You feel
staff.
me?
I
We
love
got
that.
some white American clinicians, So the staff looks like the kids. So
Yeah.
the kids are all from all walks of life, and I think that's very important. But yeah, specifically with our people though, I think it's kind of like I'm learning a lot with like autism when it comes to Somali people. It's very intricate thing. You
Yeah,
know? There's a
yeah.
lot of I'm not gonna say ignorance, but we're not the most
Misinformation, I would call it. Yeah.
a lot of misinformation
Yeah.
and a lot of education that needs to be done.
100%.
There's some family members that are doing, there's some families that are doing great.
Yeah.
with their kids, and I commend them, the work that they're doing. Some of these moms, man, these ladies are warriors. Like the stuff they're doing with their children, you know, it's beautiful. Because my thing for me is like, if you would say, yo, what do you want to do with your center, or what is your rep? Like when you get a kid, what are you trying to do with the kid?
Yeah.
What I'm trying to do with the child is I'm trying to help him gain self-sufficiency.
Right.
I want him to be able to do what he wants to do in this world, regardless of whatever, you know, disorder they're labeling him with, you know? Because sooner or later, you're not going to have access to centers like mine. You're not going to have access to ABA. You're not going to have access to speech therapy, occupational therapy, all these things that are provided for you when you're younger.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to get to a certain age and it's going to be like, okay, if you got a family, you're Somalian, more than likely, you know, you're good. You might have a whole and a sister that are holding it down for you. But if you don't, you might end up in a group home.
Yeah.
You might end up living by yourself, you know? And so my main thing is getting these kids early, you know, helping them, you know, deal with their, you know, their behavioral issues, number one, teaching them life skills, coping mechanisms. If we got to teach them traits, all these different things. So, you know, getting them early is very important. The earlier you get the kids in ABA, I think, you know, the higher rates of success for the child to be able to be self-sufficient. Then you're going to see these kids at 16, 17, he's working at Chipotle, he's working at Walmart, and he doesn't look like he has autism. You're not noticing anything. He's getting paid. He's doing what he's got to do. He's good. She's good. So I think that's very...
What about the kids that, like, you know in life that they're going to need help, like, throughout their entire lives? What do you guys do?
So there's like my bad. There's adult options, there's transitions, there's stuff, there's centers that provide adult ABA, adult centers.
Okay.
So there's those. I don't provide that right now. I'm starting, you know, so inshallah one day.
Maybe.
But some of the people that I actually work with, some of the organizations that I work with, they provide that. So I have definitely the resources to continue to help some of my kids that outgrow my my services. But yeah, there's definitely the good thing about Minnesota, man. Like I think we take it for granted when it comes to that type of stuff. When it comes to just Afamad in general, the health.
Oh, it's amazing.
We have a lot of, you know, like from having the best hospital in the world, Mayo Clinic, to having a lot of different services provided. Even when it comes to mental health, a lot of these different places don't have that, you know. So, but yeah, with our people specifically, it's like 1 in every 44 Somali kids are estimated to have autism.
Wow.
You know, and
1 in every 44.
1 in every 44. And wow. I think that even changed. But compared to, I think the Hispanic and the African American is around 1 in 80 and 1 in 70.
Wow.
So
even that's like a lot. I feel like even that's a lot more than people think. You know what I mean? In these other communities as well, just in general.
Yeah, that's a lot. So, no, astaghfirullah. Let me take that back. 1 of every 44 is the 1 in every 44 Minnesotan kids are estimated to have autism.
Okay.
1 in every 21 Somali kids are estimated to have autism.
Wow.
So we're double the average. So that means, I mean, you do the math.
That's insane.
I don't know what the percentage is on that, but
it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Wow.
It's like, I think that's what, over like 4%, 5%.
That's definitely even more than I thought.
And that's from a study that the U of M did. It might be a little bit outdated. But, you know, whoever's watching this, you can do your Googles.
Yeah.
Look up Minnesota, Somali autism rates.
It's high.
We're the highest.
Yeah.
Higher than any population. Higher than white Americans. Higher than Mexicans. Higher than African Americans. Higher than any populations. And the studies they've done, they have no answers to why. Wow. And I would love to do a research and figure out why.
Oh yeah.
Is it the food? Is it something that is being tested wrong? Is it something that we've always carried and we just didn't know about back home because we didn't test it?
Yeah.
Or is genetics?
Is it genetics? What is it?
We need to figure that out.
But
in the meantime, I really appreciate and respect and honor people that not only have centers like you have, but take it seriously too.
Right.
Right, like not take advantage of that situation. Like if we're speaking honestly and being candid with it, like opening up this center and actually being passionate about helping these kids and ensuring that these kids, you know, gain the life skills and the development that they deserve, right? And in all honesty, you said this earlier too, like they're beyond the spectrum. Like they're a lot more than these labels that are put on them. You know, they're not. You know, they're not an autistic kid. They just have they happen to have autism.
Right,
You know what I
right,
mean?
right,
That's like
right.
that's very important to understand. And then beyond that, even more, if you connect just kind of our identity as Somali people and as Muslims, and how limited we are in all honesty in this country, and how we have to like fight tooth and nail for stuff, and then you add that to 1 in every 21, like that's insane, bro. So
Nuts.
centers like that are needed and are appreciated, and are things that, you know, is a resource that we need, because then alhamdulillah, like parents can go there and they can
Feel.
and they can understand and they can feel. But it's culturally, because culturally, bro, like, and all respect and all love to like the black community, and we are definitely 100% black, but like sometimes we're swept under the rug with that, you know. But there's a big cultural difference, bro. There's a huge cultural difference. A lot of these moms with kids on the spectrum, like they don't speak English, they need help communicating,
See that
you know what I
every
mean?
day.
So it's a
See that every day.
it's a big need.
Yeah, it's you're right, and they should feel comfortable enough to, you know, be able to go outside and try to find those resources.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be, you know, stifled and like, you know, like sent back because they feel like, oh well, this is not meant for us, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody deserves therapy.
Yo, 100%.
Everybody deserves a chance at dealing with
Yeah, just
whatever,
living- just
whatever
living a normal life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, my brother has Down syndrome.
Wow.
So it's a lot. It takes a lot in order to like
as you know,
just to take care of him.
exactly, and
Yeah,
it,
it's
that's
like-
and I want to just speak on what Thunder's saying. Like when a child has autism, Downs, any of these things, it's not the child that just like has it. The whole family deals with it.
Yeah.
Not sometimes it's on the family more than the kid,
the
right?
kid, yeah,
Because
that's a big thing.
the kid is gonna learn to live with it, right?
Right.
But the family's the one that has to, you know, be the ones that are pushing for the kid, making sure the kid has a decent shot at life, waking up every day, making sure the kid can get whatever they need to get, right? So
But beyond that too, if he doesn't get the therapy that he needs and the behavioral like knowledge that he needs and the development, they're most likely the ones that are going to be affected
exactly
by the
yeah,
outlash and the
exactly.
and the, you know what I mean?
They are. They're the
Yeah.
ones that are most affected. They're the ones that see the most benefits.
Yeah.
They're the ones that see, you know, the non-benefits.
Yeah.
They're the ones that deal with everything. You feel me?
100%,
Even
because
with the
on the-
kids, think about me. He's with me. The kids, she or he, they're with me, what, 8-9 hours a day with our therapist.
Yeah.
They go home, they're home 16 hours a day. You know what I'm saying? Sleeping for another. But, which is another thing I want to touch base on exactly what you're saying, because, you know, we need our people to be more involved, because, you know, when they come to some of these centers and they're with us for 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, and, you know, we're getting through stuff, we're getting through their treatment plan, we're getting through all their goals, you know what I'm saying? We're a data-driven center too, so everything we're keeping stats of, we're testing it every week to see how they're doing.
Yeah.
We're doing all this work, and then you get home, and then it's kind of like you're not doing some of the work with him.
They're kind of reversing it in a way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now they're in a battle. They're
Yeah.
taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back every single day, and I see it every day. You know, I can tell which parents are involved more and which are not. And some of the parents, it's not that they don't want to be involved. Some can't be involved, right? Maybe some they have to be at work every day. They have to go get it. Maybe some, you know, there's a language barrier, and you're dealing with autistic kids, right? So a lot of these kids, you know, they say nonverbal. I don't even like to say nonverbal. They're non-vocal. They might not know how to speak, right?
Yeah.
So the parent can't get through to them, you know, and then maybe you're teaching these kids how to do sign language. You got to do all these things, right? And then when you do get them to speak, sometimes we're teaching these kids English before we teach them Somali, right? So then the mom doesn't know how to speak to the kid, right? So there's a lot of those barriers, right?
There's
So
a lot of challenges.
and the
Right.
good thing about,
Think
you know,
about that.
the good thing about like the DHS, shout out to them in the state, like they allow, you know, families to be providers. They allow parent trainings. They allow all these things that like we can get the families involved. We can teach them ABA. We can, you know, get them in the center. They could come watch us for a few hours a week, and they can be really involved, and they can do some of these things. I can give them treatment plans, and I can give them goals to work with their children at home, but you know, it has to actually happen, you know? So that's very important. And then like even with the stat that we're saying 1 in 20 or however,
Yeah, however much.
I'm
it is.
seeing it because, you know, before I opened up, I was going to different centers. I was checking them out. I was going to these big ones. There's big ones, right? Like there's like, you know, I won't call them a monopoly, but there's some big facilities that are just involved in all types of DHS
Yeah.
business, right? EIDBI, autism, you know, PCA,
Yeah. Home care.
group homes, all of that,
Yeah.
right? So those big facilities, I've happened to, you know, be able to walk in a few of those, and you're going to some of these centers, and you know, they're like corporations. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? They're
Yeah.
real life corporations.
Yeah.
Like million dollar operations. They got 30, 40 kids in there. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
You go in those 30, 40 kids, 10 of them are Somali. 15 of them are Somali. There might not be one Somali person working there.
Wow.
So it's like, there's 30, 40 kids in here on the spectrum, and you're telling me almost half of them, or even a third of them, are Somali and Oromo, East
Yeah.
African?
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
How many Somali centers is there? How many, you know, Oromo centers is there? Not even centers. How many of them are?
Working in the space.
Exactly.
Yeah, for our kids, for our
And it's
children.
not. There isn't. There's. I can name you a few because I'm in this space. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people doing the, you know, just even around the same time I opened up. I know several. Shout out to my sister Susan. She's got a center. I think it's called Golden Kids.
Yeah.
Another sister named Yasmin. She's got a center over on Nicollet and 20th. Shout out to them.
Yeah.
Good sisters. That's all I can think of right now. But there's a few more, you know, and we're all kind of in it together. I'll be, you know, they be showing me love. I'll be showing them love.
Of course.
Making sure everybody's doing it the right way. You know, it's not like no competition, nothing like. No quarantine, no quarantine.
Yeah,
but
there's
like,
no
yo,
need for that. Yeah.
and you know, like shout out to the older generation, but they're the ones that really kind of like, you know, are the ones that shove that down people's throat. You
Yeah,
know, they think,
yeah.
you know, it's like, it's not about that, bro. And sometimes even some people look at it that way. Sometimes even some, you know, families look at it that
Yeah.
way. And that's another thing that, you know, we don't like to talk about, but we should talk about.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, people misdiagnosing their kids, you know, people taking their kids to places that are not really getting
The help-
therapy
therapy
because
that
of
they need.
whatever their own personal reasons.
And a
You
lot
know?
of people, they've dealt with like their kids getting neglected as well.
You know,
Yeah.
exactly.
Very
because-
Abused,
yeah.
and all this kind of different
And
things.
then, you know,
There's
you
a lot of
got
issues with that.
exactly. And then it's like, okay, is this kid going to a daycare, or is he at an ABA therapy
Is that-
center?
yeah.
Because you can just give any kid an iPad and just tell him to chill for 6-7 hours.
And
but-
another very like specific thing too is like, of course, like with some kids that have autism, like being around kids who don't have autism is good for them to a certain
great.
extent. It's great for
It's
them.
great.
But also for other kids who have like very severe autism, like being around kids who don't have autism and who don't understand autism. Matter of fact, like I wouldn't even say they should, because they're like little kids, you know, we're talking about 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. That might be hard for them.
It is.
because they can't play with these kids,
is.
they can't communicate with
It
these
is.
kids. So like, and then on top of that, then they're in these spaces for again 8-10 hours, and they're going through their lives, their adolescence, where this is the time that they should be learning this stuff, and they're not learning those skills. And then now they go into adulthood and they get put into like a
Exactly.
home care or something like that,
Exactly.
and it's really sad. But
tough.
alhamdulillah, man, I'm really proud. I'm really proud of you. And obviously on this show, man, we give people their flowers. And
Appreciate it.
earlier we were talking about just kind of like the negativity that happens, but we always just trying to spread positivity on this podcast. That's why we always try to get like people who are positive, just naturally in their nature. You know,
I love what you guys are doing.
yeah,
man.
yeah. So
Yeah.
we just try to do that, man, and we just try to push that agenda. We do have a segment on the show called "Let's Get Practical," right?
Okay.
So this is he's laughing because I kind of forced it as it started out, and then they would be like, "No, it's not. It's not a segment. It's not a real thing."
It is here now.
Now it's a segment, yeah. So I kind of forced it. But we do have a segment called "Let's Get Practical," where we ask our guests if people for the viewers, right, if they want to get into, and there's a lot of different things, but you know, you can pick and choose whatever you want to decide to kind of shed some light on. But on the show, we hate gatekeepers, and I know you hate gatekeepers, right? People who have that agenda of like, oh, I don't want to show nobody how to do something, or like do this or do that because I don't want people to come up like how I came up. But if people are interested in these fields that you're in, right? And people are interested and are passionate about helping kids on the spectrum, right? And all of these other stuff that you've done, mashallah. What are some practical ways and practical steps that they can take? You don't have to go like super into detail, but like what are some practical things that they can do to kind of get into those fields that you're in right now?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
So I think I agree. I definitely hate gatekeepers because you're not keeping any gate, you know? Just kind of like you're just a hater.
Yeah.
And even me, like I hate really asking for help, you know?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
There's people
I think
that
that's a lot of Somali people though. That's kind of in our nature. It's like we're very headstrong. We're like, I'm gonna do it myself, you know? Yeah.
I agree, but it's not even about like, on like, you know, like for me, it's kind of like I'm not gonna ask anybody for help that I don't like kind of value them or my friendship.
Yeah.
But if I like see someone in a similar space as me doing something similar to me, and then I get in a similar space, whether I beat them to it or they beat me to it, I'll definitely ask them like, yo, you know, I might, you know, can you show me how to do this or can you show me how to do that? And I'm a very visual learner. I'm a like, you know, if I can't do online school, I'm a type of person. Show me once, you don't ever have to show me again,
I'm
right?
very much like that too.
And then I catch on right away. And I've noticed like I've asked people for help and they'll be like, hey, yeah, I got you. I'm gonna show you this, Ayub. And then it's like when it's time, they kind of like, you know,
It's gone.
they don't really, or I just don't like how they're moving. I'm a prideful person, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, beat it. I'm gonna learn it myself, you know, win, lose, or draw if I fail at it. But going back to your point, first I want like if they're like trying to get into specifically the mental health, you know, atmosphere, figure out what specifically.
Okay.
Because I think so any type of mental health business, because at the end of the day these are businesses, right? They go through the state of Minnesota, so there's a lot of, you know, rules, regulations,
licensing as well.
licenses, laws, backgrounds you need to have, you know. Just don't think that you can just wake up and start to do this. And another thing I want to I don't want to shift, I want to what is it called?
Let's get practical.
Let's get practical. I want to stick to let's get practical, but I think it actually like let's get really practical, especially for our people. Not trying to gatekeep at all, but our people are very monkey see, monkey do. Like we don't like to kind of take risk. We like to like it's
Follow
kind
a
of,
trend.
you know. And we're probably the best in the world at it. We're
really good at it.
We're like
I ain't
we
gonna
see like I respect it.
I
because
love
it's like, yo, I'm gonna do what I know works.
And you know
right?
what we do is we get on the trend, we fucking milk the trend. Like I'm talking about, we put everybody, our mom, our uncle, our aunt on, and then like the government or whoever's doing it shuts it the fuck down.
Right.
And then we find some other shit.
Right.
And I love it. That's some gangster shit.
No, that's not though. No, that's not. Because then that's what happens, right?
Yeah, it gets shut down.
And people are looking at us like we're crazy.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like, you know, like you go to Carmel, you see every auntie selling the same thing, right? And that's just their lane. That's what they're say. Like, it's kind of like a older Somali person thing. Like, you ever like if you go to an old Somali person and give them go to an old Somali person that's a millionaire and be like,
They don't
yo,
like to take risks.
I have an idea for you. It's gonna make you way richer than you are right now.
Yeah.
And then if they never heard of it, they'll tell you to beat it.
Beat it.
But if you tell them to go buy a truck, they'll be like, when, where, why?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Lie there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I think so told me about
You know, exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
How so that's what you say.
Yeah. I'm Alerkali Unigis Husubia, you know, like Masa Subisid, you know,
Love
like
shit like that. No, if you tell them though, Ki Ahmed movies وحتى سمعنا
Right, right.
من Somalia
Right.
ورنيو كان شكل عرفت ايش you know, that's how they move.
They get a little excited. So I want our people to like kind of I'm seeing it happen right now, right? I'm seeing it happen in even the mental health space. Like I'm seeing a lot of you know, arms, 245D, group home, all these different things. And I'm not saying that like people shouldn't do it. You should do it. But do it if you're passionate about it. Do it if you know, have a background in this stuff. Do it if you have someone that you're working with that has a background in this stuff. Because don't do it because you think so and so
came up off
on
of
the
it.
bag.
Yeah.
you heard your man's started this business and he made this much in the last year, so now you're trying to do it, but you know nothing about it, you know. And then if you really want to do it and you don't know nothing about it,
Learn.
go take classes, go to DHS, do the trainings, Go back and get a certification.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I took classes. I mean, I'm educated. I got numerous degrees, but I'm not educated in this,
Yeah.
you know? So I went back. I studied. I went to different places. I went to different centers. I went to people that were experienced. I had them take me under their wing,
Yeah.
teach me these things. You know what I'm saying? Link up with doctors, link up with clinicians, figure it out. Go to the people, go to the city. Yo, what are you missing? What do you guys need? Like, figure it out. Go to a lawyer, figure it out, you know? Don't just send in an application and then be like, you know, oh, I'm waiting for this application. Like,
Yeah. Don't fake the funk. Be
No.
authentic.
I was speaking to someone at the state, and they said, because when I got my license, I got my license. I didn't open for like 9 months
Wow.
since I got my license, right?
Yeah.
Like, it took a very long time because there were so many hula hoops. Like, when they need something from you, they need it now. But when you need something from them, you're gonna get it when you get it, right?
Yeah, that's how it is.
So I was talking to somebody that basically, you know, I was waiting stuff for. I'm like, yo, when am I gonna get this? When am I gonna get this? When am I gonna get this? So you know, I started talking to her normal, like, yo, like, damn, you guys are putting me through like a ringer, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, is this normal? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, am I being targeted? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it because of my name? Like, what's up? And then she was like, you want to know something? Out of the 100% of the people that get approved for what you're doing, only 20% of them open up.
Wow.
Like, not out of 20% of applications open up. No, out of the people that got approved,
Yeah, only 20% open up.
actually open up.
Wow.
So after you get approved, you think you can just open up tomorrow?
You can't. It's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Like, not saying you can't do it. You guys can do it if you want to do it. But I'm just saying, like, that's not when it's done, you know? And even me, I was like, okay, well, it's time to open up. Like, where are the kids at? Like, whoop. No, it's not.
Yeah.
There's a lot you got to do. So I want people to understand that. Like, it's you got to have time. You got to have patience. You know, it's going to happen when it happens. When it does happen, though, when I try to tell people, or somebody told me in life, you might not always get numerous opportunities. Some people get several opportunities, you know, because, you know, akliko the way. You feel me?
Yeah.
Some, you know, and depending what you look like, and if you probably look like we look like,
Yeah.
you're not gonna get that many shots, right?
Yeah.
So try to figure out what you like, what you enjoy, what you're passionate about,
What you're good at.
what you're good at.
Mm-hmm.
And also, don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's why, you know, you're asking me, oh, why do you do all these things?
Yeah, to
'Cause,
diversify
you
yourself.
know, for sure, I want to be able to do different things in life. That's what life's about, right? But one thing I'm trying to say is, you're gonna get a shot, like, eventually, and whatever it is that you're trying to do in life, you're gonna get the opportunity to do it. When that opportunity comes, you got to make sure that you are ready. And by that, what I'm trying to say is, all you can do in life is prepare for when God calls your name, and whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So say you're trying to, you know, say you're trying to do this. I'm trying to open this up. Okay. I'm trying to open this up. Okay. Now do everything you got to get to that point, right?
Yeah.
And then that day that somebody says, okay, hey, you said you wanted to open this up, right? Okay. Now this is what I need from you to open this up. You better have that, because that might not be able to come back again. Otherwise, you might have to get sent back to square one, and now you're doing another thing. And what I'm trying to say is, prepare yourself,
Yeah.
because unprepared people don't usually get another shot.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. That's dope. I love that. I love
So for our people, if you are interested in the mental health field, go to the state website, go to the DHS website, figure out what you want to do, whatever it is. Do some trainings, do some classes. Once you get that, go to a lawyer, ask them what the requirements are for this business. Once you figure out the requirements for that business, you know, if you don't have the requirements for it,
Go and
get the requirements. Work with someone that has the requirements. Once you do that, send in your application. You know, if it doesn't get approved, that doesn't mean that it's not good. Fix what you have to fix. You know, don't quit your day job.
Yeah.
Don't ever quit your day job.
Yeah, don't ever quit
until it gets to the point where you have 2 places to be one day. Then that's when you quit your day job. And you have to say, okay, I can't go to these places. Now it's time to take that chance, you know?
Yeah.
So do that. There's a lot of dope consulting organizations. There's a lot of dope people that can help you with your applications, help you find different things, but it's not that hard. I know I'm not trying to sound like
Yeah.
it's we especially for people like us who are grew up here,
Yeah.
born here, raised here, went to school. Like, don't let these people koala you. You can figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
If you don't have to pay somebody, don't pay them. Trust me. And that's another thing. There's a whole that's a lot of that going on
Yeah.
too. We don't have to touch on that, but just really dig into it. And then if you're really and if you're looking at it in a business sense, figure out, I don't know, I never took business classes, but I definitely consider myself a businessman.
Oh yeah.
Figure out what's missing in your market. If you're into mental health, figure out what's missing in your market. If you see a influx of this many businesses that are doing this and this many businesses that are doing this, okay, well, what are people not doing? That's the first thing I think of when I go to when I travel, when I'm in a different city that I've never been. I'm like, oh, this is a dope city. I like it. Some nice vibes, nice. And then I'm like, damn, what would be fire if they had this here? You know what I'm saying? That's so that's what I look at. And leaving Minnesota, that's one thing I definitely I'm working on a few other things. And one of the main things I'm working on right now, another business, is me realizing, oh, damn, they don't really got these over here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why that's on high, bro.
That's all. Yeah.
Whenever we think about stuff, bro, we're like, what would make this even better,
Exactly.
My dad is like that too.
Yeah,
I alhamdulillah, I have the privilege to travel a lot. My dad, he always says, everywhere I go, don't just go to London and eat fellowship so buhi. Go there and look around, be like, what's different here?
Yeah.
Than where I'm at right now.
Exactly.
Then when you come back here, you're like, oh, okay, wow, London has this, and
Get off your phone, go see the city,
Yeah.
go talk to the people. You know what I'm saying? They want to talk to you.
Exactly.
Go check it out.
You'd be surprised how much people oh, you're American. Wow,
Right,
what's it
right.
like over there? You know what I mean?
Exactly,
Because
bro.
people are interested.
Bro, you got brothers that got dipped back at the crib. You know what I'm saying? First flight back. You know what I'm saying? They over there. Them boys ain't been back for how many years? They can't come back, but they calling their family, their mans, yo, I need this much money.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy some jet skis. I'm gonna open up a burger spot.
Yeah.
Hargeisa, hamad, whatever. And just some simple things like that. They're doing good. You know what I'm saying? And that's all it took is, what is my area missing? So what is Minneapolis missing? For anybody that's trying to, do anything when it comes to that, I think that's a great starting point.
A great place to start. Yeah.
Try to be different and take a chance. And when you are different and you take chances, usually good things happen. Don't be different just to be different.
Yeah.
And then another thing is, do something with a purpose. Do something that is providing good in your community, in your city, for your people. I think that's my rule. I think one of my main rules in business for me is anything I do when it comes to business, like Sharif was saying earlier, I want it to be something that is bringing something positive to the world, to my people. Otherwise, it's
what's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What different are we than these corporations that are just milking the world and bringing bad things realistically, right?
Yeah.
And there's so many positive things that you could bring to, your community,
And you could do both. I think that something that I want to definitely shed light on too is when you work in the industry that you work in, and when you work with these vulnerable people, you have to be you have to be understanding of that. These people are vulnerable. This isn't a space for you to go in and come up and make a whole lot of money. And that's not exclusive to nobody. A lot of people do that.
And if that's what you're in it for,
yeah.
I feel first of all, that's a great point.
Yeah.
One thing about
exactly, you can do both. You can be caring, be genuine, be authentic to what you're trying to do, and actually help these people and make a shit ton of money. You don't have to sacrifice your morals and your even your Islam nimo, as a Muslim person.
If you're gonna make haram money, you might as well just be in the streets, bro.
Yeah, you might as well sell crack.
And that's another thing. It's you know what I'm saying? They want to shed light on, our brothers, all these Minnesota boys, man, they doing this, they doing that, and it's I feel like they be shitting on us low key. You know what I'm saying? But it's I know a lot of people that making it look good and they not doing much better. You feel me? And it's okay, because it look good and it's legit and it's running, but it's if you are like, what's the point of making something halal haram? Like, why did I make it this far for my kids to still be? I don't have kids, inshallah, when I do. But what's the point of me getting food for my family and the food ain't good food? I might as well be outside and be doing God knows what.
What's the
right?
difference? There's no difference.
There's no difference. And I think, you know, I don't like. I think what happens is, and I think that a lot of people, they don't come in with the intentions of that.
Yeah,
You know,
they get caught
I
up
just
in
think
that.
that money comes to them a little bit too fast, and then, you know, ilaha naga ilali, all of us. You know what I'm saying?
We know better and no
You
different.
feel me?
Wallahi, we're
I'm
no
not
better,
saying
we're
none of that.
different.
May Allah protect us and guide all of us. You feel
Ameen.
me? Because everybody, we all gonna be tested. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But you have decisions and you have choices,
Mm-hmm.
and don't let it be a mistake, because it ain't a mistake. It was a decision and a choice. You
Yeah,
know?
to
Right.
do that.
So, and then one thing you gotta understand, just, you know, slow money's better than no money. You feel me?
It is.
You know what I'm saying? And it adds up, bro.
It does,
You know,
yeah.
especially if you're doing good things here and you're doing good things there and you're doing good things there, fam. You got something that's gonna last. And that's one thing, bro. Businesses are supposed to last. One thing about business, make it last or sell it. That's what business is about,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
But you ain't gonna sell nothing if it's not something profitable,
If it's not worth,
right?
it's not worth something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Mashallah.
yeah, just bro, you know, don't sell out. You know, I think that's what happened with, you know, that last situation with a
Yeah.
lot of those our peoples
Yeah.
that got caught up in that. It was just
Yeah.
kind of like people could have just been normal and done the right thing to do, and then
Or just smarter.
yeah. I
Just
don't even
like-
want to say that.
yeah.
I really believe that they could have done the right thing.
Yeah.
I really believe that people didn't have to lie and act like they were doing things that they weren't doing.
That they weren't doing.
I really do think that was unnecessary.
Right.
I really do, and and they made it they made life harder for all
All
of us.
of us.
And anybody who's trying to get into any type of business,
We got a microscope.
especially dealing with bureaucracy in the state and the government.
Now it's like,
I want you to understand. Read the climate, read what happened,
Mm-hmm.
understand where you're living in, and, you know, understand that you're gonna have a big telescope on you.
Yeah.
And be on point. You know, represent us.
yeah.
Don't fold.
Yeah.
People are gonna test you. Dada ku amanayan, uku provenayan.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's gonna make it sound sweet. They
Yeah.
might look like you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they
That's
might
the ones.
try to
That's the ones they send most of the
yeah,
time.
they might try to get you to do something that you actually don't even do.
Yeah.
And then today you agreed to it. And that's another thing. Just let people know. Even if you gotta put disclaimers, I don't get down like this.
Yeah.
Right.
And then
Facts.
once you let people know I don't get down like this, I think that type of
Setting that precedent is
yeah,
very
just that
important.
type of energy is not gonna be around you that much, right?
Yeah.
I'd love to hear
I've
that.
even felt it. I've walked into rooms certain times like, oh, I got somebody for you, and then I get there, and then when they see me, maybe how I talk or how I look, it's like, oh yeah, everything's good, and then I call them, and it's like no answer, and it's like, you know what, I'm okay with that because you probably felt I don't play that, you know what I'm saying? Like
100%.
that's cool, you
And
know?
that's important, bro. Wallahi, being authentic and also having khair in your business.
100%.
Right? Having blessing in your business. For the both of us, we've dealt with that, right? And it's like another thing like that I want to be honest about too is like it's not gonna be easy. That's the thing. Like we're not sitting around here talking about, oh yeah, it's easy for me. Bro, it's hard because you sitting around, you're like, man, like if I wish, but you know how much money we can make if we shot music videos? Or if we did this, or you know what I'm saying, and we're doing it out of the sense of like, yo, I'm not gonna lie. At the end of the day, I want what I'm doing in this business that I have, and this thing that I'm trying to grow, to have khair, bro,
100%,
and
man.
to have Allah's blessing, and for this to be something that pleases Allah, not
for Hoyer to
displeases
be
Allah.
proud, for my
Exactly,
family
for
to be
Hoyer, my
proud.
family, everybody to be proud. Then the money I make too gotta be halal.
Yeah,
on.
one quote
Yeah.
I heard was that if you sacrifice your principles for your passion about that, you lose either way.
Yeah,
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I love that.
that's a fact.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
facts.
in the
I
end-
mean, if your passion doesn't have your principles in there, then I don't know how much principles you
Yeah.
got.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like, you know,
That's facts.
wallahi.
Yo, that's wild.
Yeah.
But to go back to it, even like what we were talking about before we started, is like, how are you gonna send Hoyer to Umrah off of that?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's facts. Nah.
How you gonna go to Umrah after that?
People be saying that though. It cancels out. That's what they be saying.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's what they be saying.
How
They
you
be like,
gonna,
it cancels
like,
out. I'm like, how the fuck it cancel
Come
out?
on, man. That's like taking your Riba credit card to go to Saudi, man.
Yeah, it don't
It's
make
idiot
no
thing.
sense. It's an idiot thing, wallahi billahi. But man, wallahi, it was a blessing to have you on the show, bro. And you know, you've already been family, but now that we had you on the Ghost Talk podcast, you know, we have like a Ghost Talk family, and like everybody that we've had on the show, even people we didn't meet before, we didn't know before, we kind of have a connection and a love, and we check up on each other, and we work with each other, and it's just about building that community.
Of
and,
course,
and,
man.
Right.
and
You gotta
showing each
represent
other
for your
love.
people. And shout out to Sharif, that's my brother.
Exactly, bro. I
Holding down
appreciate
the
it.
Top model for Cheeky.
Oh
You feel
yeah,
me?
that was dope. That was
You
fun,
already know.
man. That was fun.
Thunder is my dog. Inshallah, we're gonna work together in
Yeah,
the future
inshallah,
for sure.
Inshallah,
Appreciate
for
you
sure.
guys.
So of course we'd love to have you back. We'd love to have you back on the show. And one thing that we try to do, so originally kind of like the purpose of the show was a way for folks to hold each other accountable, right? Like you hold us accountable, we hold you accountable. Let's grow together, you know. So we'd love to have you back on the show, and we'd love to know like where do you see yourself in a year's time? What are some goals, some aspirations? And like I always remind people like, yo, like if there's some things you don't want to share, you working on, you trying to keep it on the low. Like understand a lot of
sure,
people
for
see
sure.
this, you feel me?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
what are some things that you wanna
So-
do, inshallah?
Yeah, I'll talk on what I can talk about.
Yeah, there you go.
Can't talk about what I can't talk about.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm not a gatekeeper, but I know there's a lot of people that be,
Yeah.
monkey
Evil
see
eye.
and monkey doing.
Nah,
too.
you got to be smart, man. You
Yeah.
can't just be out here running around telling everybody your
man.
business, man.
And then that's another thing, man. It's another thing. Like I've done that in the past.
Yeah.
I've made mistakes.
You learn though. You learn from that.
yeah.
No, you definitely learn from that. That's how the
I've
world
learned,
works.
You know.
Yeah.
But, one like even. It's. I'm not saying don't tell your people what you're doing. It's always good to tell one, two, even like people that you know for
Yeah.
sure. Even then, it's get lolly.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of people in my life that I'll bet my life on it. They want good for me. You know what I'm saying? Like
Facts.
you know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Those my dogs. You know what I'm saying? Or whoever they are. Those people for sure. But there's no better feeling in the world than it's like almost having like a baby. You know, like I feel like there's no better feeling than coming up with an idea, writing it, mapping it out, telling your loved one person, your confidant, this is what I'm trying to do, this is what I'm working on, working towards it, putting it to fruition, and then like it coming alive, and then you seeing it. Like
Wow.
that is like
One of the best feelings.
it's a mind like a mind boggling experience. Like from an idea to turn into something that you can reap benefits for. I think like the only comparison I could say to it is like being out of shape and then going to the gym for like 2 years and then banging it out and then just seeing your body change. And then you look and being like, damn, I did this? Like that's another very, shout out, and we all about the fitness life. If you're not in the gym, get in the gym.
Get in the gym.
You know what I'm saying? Take care of yourself, especially our people. We're dealing with a lot of, you know what I'm
High
saying?
cholesterol.
Yeah, man. All of that. You know why? Because,
It's the Hilabari, man.
no, it's not the Hilabari, bro. It's we're East African people that are from a part of the world.
Oh,
next to
man,
the
that's a big thing.
equator and eating like real, all right.
And
think
getting-
about this. We eat in the same food we eat back home, right?
Yeah.
And we getting out of shape and stuff out of here, right? And dealing with like severe health issues, right? Because the same food that we have here is not the same food back home.
Yeah,
Even though we're eating baris and hilabari here,
It's not the same baris and hilabari over
it's
there, yeah.
processed USDA baris hilabari.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it is American baris and
Yeah,
hilabari.
yeah.
Go back home and eat baris hilabari every day. You're gonna come back with a 6-pack, just being under the
Oh,
sun
yeah.
every day,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So don't forget that. But yeah, going back to that, what I'm basically saying is like, yeah, that's a beautiful feeling. Just so, don't be scared to tell your loved ones what you're working on. Just make sure there's people that believe in you.
yeah, have the best intentions.
and want to see you win. And don't go around telling everybody what you're working on, because now, you might have some people, plotting on your downfall, or, ain, evil eye, or just not wanting the best for you. And inshallah, if you're protected, you'll be good to go, yeah, so just, and it's another, like, it's another form of pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, not everybody knows that I'm trying to do this. No, I
Yeah.
really got to do
Nah,
this,
really
right?
gotta
If you really care about other people. But me, I put the pressure on myself. It's like, one thing in life is like, I want to prove myself that I can do things, right? Like, it's all about me. Like, I was the worst student.
Yeah.
And I graduated high school because I wanted to prove myself. Then my mom wanted me to get a degree, and it's like, I hated college, but I wanted to be able to give that to my mom. And then,
Self-motivated.
you know what I'm saying? But then I wanted to get my master's. So like after you start doing a few of these, and you can sooner or later, you're gonna build a little bit of a confidence where you're gonna be like, I can do these things, and you're not gonna make it feel like it's far fetched. Like, and it's not like a, like what Thunder was asking earlier. He was like, you said, what'd you say? You said a lot of you're basically like, damn, you have a lot of people that are doing.
Yeah, you keep around more people that are like more that are doing stuff instead of like guri schedule.
Yeah. So like, make sure you surround yourself with people that are
Yeah.
like-minded, that are doing big things, so you can find inspiration from yourself, right? If you got to go on social media every day to see what you want to do, and you're wishing that on a star, you don't know this person. You're seeing this person have your dream, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, damn, I really want to do this. But if I look to my right and I see Sharif doing this, and I look to my left and I see Thunder doing this, and I look to my other right and I see my man's doing this, and it's like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's facts.
So, you know, and if you don't find that inspiration, be that inspiration to yourself, and then, you know, surround yourself by those people, you know?
reach
It's like a
out.
whole domino
Yeah.
effect too,
Reach out
bro.
too.
You feel
Reach
me?
out. Yeah.
It's a whole domino.
And that's one
effect.
thing I can say I was blessed with is I had I never had to look far for me to see people that were getting it popping. One, because or just going after their own dreams and betting on themselves or doing whatever they had to do. One, because I moved around a lot and I was in different settings and I was around different people, and I started developing my own network of people, right? So I came up with a lot of people that, like, nah, mashallah, like, you would be surprised some of the things my friends, my actual friends that I used to, you know, split food with are doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and those are my dogs. Like, I don't ask them for nothing. It's all love. Like, I know if I needed something, like, I'm not gonna ask for it. But yo, we kicking it. We dropping ideas. Yo, I need a link. Yo, you got this for me? Can you get this number, email from me? All of that. But, you know, that's very important, fam.
Yeah.
You know, and don't hate on your people. Don't ever hate on your people at all. Like I
Nope.
said, you know, be ready for your opportunity, because your opportunity is gonna come.
Inshallah.
So you don't ever have to hate on another person. You feel me? Because if you're prepared,
If you focus, I think the biggest thing that's important too is that you gotta be so dialed in and focused on yourself. You're not even worried about what other people are doing. I
Exactly.
think that's
Yeah.
that should be
Like,
the goal. Yeah,
you feel me? Like,
100%.
I don't know nobody's business. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to know nobody's business.
I'm good.
You feel me?
Alhamdulillah,
So I think if you really just focus on yourself, you do what you got to do. You know, y'all gonna be straight. Everybody's gonna be straight, and you guys definitely keep doing your Dougie. But as far as what I'm working on in the future, another Beyond the Spectrum, another site, another location is about to open up, inshallah, this year. In another, I don't want to speak on where, but in another city in Minnesota.
Dope. That's
We're
dope.
gonna tackle another.
May Allah make that easy.
I mean, and then now it's kind of like, you know, we already kicked in the door now, so adding another site is not like what I have to go through now. I just have to add another site, you know. But I have to experience what I'm experiencing now, which is having no life, you know, and I have no life, like, none. Wallahi, I work, you know, 10 hours, whatever. I go to the gym, and I go home. Fam.
Yeah.
If I get lucky, I might be able to hop on 2K for an hour or two. You feel me?
Yeah.
Go to sleep, wake up, do it all over again.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah.
But and that's how it should be. I wouldn't want to no other way. You feel me? Because when you got time to do stuff, a lot of times you're not gonna spend it on the right things. You know? Sometimes you got.
Sometimes too much time is bad,
you know,
man.
For sure, especially when you're younger and stuff. I'm older now, alhamdulillah. A lot of the stuff, any little kiddie dumb stuff, I'm over anyways. I done it. It's all cool, man. I'm just trying to kick up, you know,
Vibe
be with my
out.
people, relax, fam.
Alhamdulillah.
But so yeah, I'm working on that. Another Beyond the Spectrum. Some series by Cheeky dropping. Series 4, inshallah, this year.
We're looking forward to
this,
that.
this summer for sure. I got to keep that going. You know, our brother Red passed away. Allah He's
Allah
brother.
Yahdih.
He's the last person I did the last drop with, so
Allah
I
Yahdih.
got to keep it going for my brother. You feel me? So we're gonna do something for him. And then I'm working on one other thing. Inshallah, if it goes through, that's like one thing that I'm collabing with another organization called NDC, Neighborhood Development Center, which is like a nonprofit that helps people start businesses in the Minneapolis St. Paul area. So that's another thing. If you're looking to start a business, reach out to NDC. Dope organization based out of St. Paul. They have requirements if they want to help you. So they help people that are already up and running, and they help people that are starting businesses.
Okay.
So
Shit, we might tap in with them.
yeah, another passion.
Our damn selves.
Another passion projects of mine that I'm trying to do, that I ended up doing. I did this little program with them, and then after the program, they help you get another business popping. So I'm doing that with them, inshallah.
Inshallah.
And then they're like anti-gentrification, right?
Oh, I love that.
So like you gotta, if they help you, you gotta like do it in their hubs, which is like South Minneapolis, North Minneapolis, no downtown, no uptown, St. Paul.
That's dope.
That's it. Like, so you got to keep
What are they
it
called again?
Neighborhood Development Center, NDC. So check out NDC.
Shout out NDC, man.
Check out Lake Street Council.
Oh yeah, Lake Street
Yeah.
Council is dope.
Shout out to them.
Shout out to them.
What else, man? What other dope organizations? Let me just figure out some organizations that have helped me in the past.
Yeah.
NDC has helped me. I know the people at Lake Street, some good people over there.
Yeah. You go-
African Development Center in Cedar.
Yeah, ADCs. Yeah, African
Some of the-
Development Center is good
Some
too.
of the dopest people. You know, if you got a business up and running, go holla at them. Go holla at our sisters, Somali sisters, East African sisters in general.
Shout out to the
Brothers.
sisters too, man.
Shout out to the
They're
sisters.
doing an amazing job.
The sisters are killing the brothers.
Yeah.
Brothers, we got to step it up. But, you know,
really
we're going to
do.
hold it down. But shout out to our sisters. They're doing their Dougie.
Yeah.
But, yeah, if you're trying to, you know, get into that, check out those organizations. Yeah, besides that, we always working, fam. We cooking every day, man. You know what I'm
100%.
saying?
I love that.
Any ideas I'm open to. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that's getting stuff popping, tap in, man. Let's do it, man.
I love that. That's
You know
dope.
what I'm saying?
man.
Then that's really it. This the Cheeky right here. So check out seriesbycheeky.com.
Yep.
I got my cousin stuff from London on Niche London. So at Niche London, you know what I'm saying? At Series by Cheeky. You know what I'm saying? We only
Shout out to them. And then where can people find where can people get in contact? And I wanted to kind of shed some light on this too. This is not a sponsor. I really do, you know, I really do fuck with what you're doing, but mess with what you're doing. But beyond the spectrum, families, people that are interested, people that want to volunteer, help out, whatever it may be, how can they get in contact or get in touch with that?
our website www.btspectrum.com. So the letter B, the letter T, and then spectrum.com. All of our contact info is there. If you have children who are on the spectrum, that
What age
need-
groups? 3 to
18 that need services, all insurances that need services. You're looking for them to get ABA therapy. We got speech therapists, occupational therapists, and we're about to start doing some art therapy with my brother Mohammed from ORR, best artist.
Oh yeah,
ever
big
to
shout
come
out to
of-
Mohammed.
Yes,
Big shout out to
sir.
Mohammed.
ever to come
That's
out of
a boy.
Minneapolis. He even did a mirror at my business. You feel me?
Yeah.
That's my brother.
He's amazing.
I've been tapped in with my brother since we was jits. You feel me? But yeah, beyond the btspectrum.com. If you have children that are looking to get services, we have a referral section in our website. You fill in the referral, you know, your name, who you are, what your relation is to the child, the child's name, contact info of you. We'll reach out to you. Even if we can't help you, we'll send you references and referrals for the child to get help.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have autism and you're looking for any other services that are in the mental health field, reach out to us.
Inshallah.
We got people working with us that are doing all types of stuff. We have psychiatrists that are part of our staff, so I'm sure they could find you other referrals. I got my cousin Amal working with me. It's my big sister. She's a licensed drug counselor as well, and she's about to open up her own
Yep. Shout out to her as well.
outpatient treatment center. So that's my sister, tapping with her. She does a lot of therapy as well. Shout out to everybody that's in that sphere.
Yeah.
That are fighting,
And that's doing that work.
yeah, man, because that's like another taboo in our culture, right? But there's a lot of people that are doing good things. Shout out to our brother Abdurrahman. He's
Yeah,
getting
shout
it
out
in.
to Abdurrahman.
Abdurrahman's older brother. What's his name?
Abdurazak.
Abdurrazak.
Yeah.
He's actually my cousin's partner, Ahmad. So shout out to both of them. They're doing dope work.
Shout out.
And then anybody in the mental health sphere, tap in and keep doing what you got to do, man. We gotta we gotta put on, and we gotta fight all stigmas, and help our people get the best shot at a decent life.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
Better, man.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
Shout out to you guys, man. I appreciate you guys so much. He is lying. I paid $2,500 to be on.
I wish you did. Alhamdulillah. But yo, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you guys for watching. This is Mohammed Salad, Mohammed Sharif, Mohammed Thunder with Ayub
Ilmi.
Ilmi.
You already know.
That's a wrap. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
Deuces.